Well, students, good evening to all of you. Today, I'm going to discuss another topic of MEd, which is descriptive research. So, uh, under the descriptive research method, we will discuss, meaning, nature, and characteristics of this descriptive research method. Then we will discuss about the steps of the research method, this research method, types of this research method, and advantages, disadvantages of this kind of a descriptive research method, right? So, as the name suggested, descriptive research method means this method is used to describe the phenomena, describe the event, right? This is called a descriptive method. And you have to remember, this method talks about what? What is the attitude of the teachers towards the teaching, right? It does not talk about the why and other things. So under a descriptive method, uh, it is a kind of a research method which talks about the describing people, objects, group, organization, and gives a clear view of the given situations, right? So on all of the research method, of all the research method, this method is a mostly used. Why it is a mostly used? Because in the early time when the data was not available, so most of the researcher, most of the teachers, and most of the scientists, they used to do the research with the help of this method, right? The another name of this method is known as survey research method or normative survey type method. Okay, when we talk about the survey method, so that means we are talking about descriptive method. Normative type method, it is also a descriptive type of method. Okay, the descriptive method in educational research may be defined as a method of investigation of the educational problem which attempts to describe and interpret the presently existing condition, practices, belief, attitude, trends, process, and effects of educational phenomena that are typical of the normal condition, right? So here you have to understand that whatever the changes you are looking in your educational process, this is all about due to the research. Okay, whatever the present problem is going on, teaching methods of the teachers are not teaching well, syllabus is not good, there is a another kind of a problem, because education is a full of problems, educational teaching learning process. So when we solve these problems, these all the problems come under this type of research, descriptive research. And always remember, nowadays you have seen that every institutions, every company, there is a one R&D cell, behind they are working, under that company. Okay, because when you do the more research, you will get the better result. Now today you have seen that why the America is a number one country, because America, they spend lot of money on the research part. And when you talk about the India, even there is a shortage of money. Sometimes we cannot fulfill our basic needs, right? So you have to remember, research is a very much important. Whatever we are looking, even when you talk about the new educational policy, NEP 2020, who designed this policy? Yes, tell me. Dr. Kasturi Ranjan, right? And you also remember that I'm talking about 2014. Okay, all of you know that before the 2014, B.Ed was not compulsory, to teach in the schools, right? You have seen that when in the year of 2014, Modi government came and Samriti Irani was the education minister, in center, if you remember. So in the year of 2014, it was mandatory to all the person, if they want to go into the teaching field, then teacher should be B.Ed, and after that, if you want to become a principal, then the MEd should be the eligible criteria. So guys, you can think that after independence, after 60 years, after 70 years, we have come to know that B.Ed is compulsory for the teaching. You know, earlier what is happening without B.Ed, you know, number of teachers they are teaching in the schools and colleges. Because research says that when you do the B.Ed, when you undergo the teaching methodology, you become a teacher, only then you can teach effectively to the students, right? Or even when in any of the lecture, when we will talk about the national education policy designed by the Kasturi Ranjan, I will tell you that lot of research is done by the Kasturi Ranjan first, then he made that policy, right? So similarly, whatever the problems we are facing in the educational institutions presently, that all the educations comes under the descriptive research method. Okay, so I show you the problems, what can be the problems. Okay, so these are the examples of, you know, problems under a descriptive method, right? So these all the problems, we solve these problems with the help of a descriptive research method, right? Do the teachers hold favorable attitude towards using computer in school, right? We have been the reactions of a school administrators to the technological innovations in teaching the social science. How have the high school computing courses changed over the last 10 years? You know, fourth point is, how do the new multimedia textbook compare to the printed textbook? How are the decisions being made about using the channel 1 in school, and for those schools that choose to use it, how is channel 1 being implemented? So guys, I have put, you know, 3 or 4 examples. There can be any examples, you know, lot of problems in the, you know, education field. So these are solved by this method. Okay, and you also remember that descriptive method talks about the present situation. Like the historical method, we have done that. Historical method talks about the historical events and phenomena, in order to get the information, so that that information will serve as a for in our future. But in a descriptive research, it always talks about present, right? What is going on present, and you know, what are the problems. Descriptive research method is going to solve that. And second thing, that it does not talk about why. Why? Now, why happened? Okay, this method doesn't. It does not talk about the cause and effect relationship also. Okay, cause and effect. It experimental method talks. Descriptive method only describe the problem. Okay, suppose this is the problem, it describes this is the problem. This method is useful for generating a theories, right? So next we discuss, you know, what are the features of the descriptive method. Yes, this is the important 4 features. Okay, everybody, you must learn. You know, first is a quantitative research, features of a descriptive research. Second is uncontrolled variable. Third is cross-sectional studies. And fourth is the basis for further research. Right, guys? So first we discuss the first feature of the descriptive research, quantitative research. So guys, no doubt, this feature, this descriptive feature, this feature of a quantitative research, descriptive research, mostly, you know, it is a quantitative research. Okay, but you cannot say that it is a, you know, all the data is a quantitative. It can use the qualitative data also, but most of the time, mostly, you know, the results of the descriptive research comes in the form of a quantitative data, right? So descriptive research is a quantitative research that attempts to collect quantifiable information for statistical analysis of the population sample, right? Second feature of this, uncontrolled variable. Okay, you must remember, in a descriptive research, none of the variable are influenced by any way. This uses observation method to conduct the research. Hence, the nature of variables or their behavior is not in the hand of researcher, right? Malab, here is a new word, variable. You should be aware that when we talk about the research, basically we are talking about the variable. Okay. For example, there is a one statement. Okay, listen carefully. We want to see the attitude of the convent school teachers towards the ICT, right? My research problem is that attitude of the convent school teacher towards the ICT, right? So here, guys, there are basically two variables. One variable is attitude and second variable is convent school teachers, right? So technically we say that variables, because just pe hum, we are going to do the research. But under a descriptive research, the features of a descriptive research is a uncontrolled variables. Okay, we are not controlling that variable. Okay, for example, if we have to control the variable, so then already we will inform the convent school teacher that after 4 days there is a inspection committee is coming from Delhi or Bombay, and that inspection committee is going to check your attitude towards the ICT. So what will happen, that your subject would be come to know, beforehand, I'm going to be observed after a 4 days, right? So this is called the controlled situation. Okay, when you observe the teacher and teacher does not know that whose behavior is going to be observed by the principal, right? In that condition, this is called uncontrolled conditions, uncontrolled variables. Okay, so always you have to remember, under a descriptive research, the variables are uncontrolled. Okay, naturalistic. Okay, it is not under the controlled situation, right? Third feature is a cross-sectional studies. Descriptive research is generally a cross-sectional study where different sections belonging to the same group are studied. There, it works on a large group of data. Okay, you can expand your topic. This topic, just I took the example, attitude of the convent teacher towards the ICT across the country. There is across the country, there are 30 states. So big data, big sample we want to collect. So on that sample, we use the descriptive research. Cross-sectional study says this point, right? 3 points are clear to you. And fourth is this is another important features of descriptive research. The basis for further research. Yes, this is the important. Descriptive research is always useful research. Whatever research we have done, that it serves as a basis for the further research. Further, we want to search anything, we want to research anything. So the result of a descriptive research is a very useful, right? So here I give you, some more example. Now you know that election season is going on. I think you all are belong to a Punjab, most of the student. And you know that in a Punjab, there is a elections going on to be happen after 1 or 2 months in the month of February, right? So every party, they have the, R&D cell. Okay, so they, give the survey and they will come to know that, you have seen that many surveys comes in the market. This is the result of these research. Okay, they ask the question and they get the data. Sometime previous data, helps for the further research. Okay, you can take such kind of, example. So fourth point is the basis for further research. So these are the important features of descriptive research, right? So when you talk about this heading, nature and characteristics of a descriptive research, we have already discussed, right? Like it involves the gathering of data from a large group. We have discussed. It deals mainly with the what exists in the present. We have discussed, right? So these we have already discussed, nature and characteristics of this. And importance, uses, purpose of a descriptive research, I have already elaborated to you. Okay, main thing we discuss, which is important for you and important for the on the point of view of exams also, methods of descriptive research. Yes. Now we will study under this heading what are the methods of descriptive research, right? Which method we use we use under the descriptive research. So there are 4 methods in your syllabus. In fact, under a descriptive research, there are 3 or 4 methods. One is a case study method. Second is observational method, right? Third is developmental research, and fourth is survey research. Okay, these 4 methods. So we start from the case study method, right? A case study method, basically what is a case study method under a descriptive research method? Case study method refers to the in-depth and the detailed study of the subject. Okay, when there is a such kind of a research comes, we want to see the detailed study, we want to search the detailed study of the subject. Sometime along with example, I understand you. For example, in your class, in your 7th or 8th class, all of the class are getting a very good marks, but 1 or 2 students are not getting a good marks. Okay, every time, even you have changed the teacher also, okay, but they are not getting a good marks. So what do? You are going to take the in-depth study of that particular student. Okay, means from which family he has come, right? Whether he has come from the educated family or their parents are not educated. What is the reason behind it? So when you want to take the in-depth study of the person, so such kind of a study comes under the case study method of descriptive research, right? Next is a observational method. This is the example I have given. The example, this kind of a case study method, in medical case study method researcher study a such a researcher use this approach, right? Second is a observational method, right? Second method under a descriptive research method, observational method under descriptive research method is a type of non-experimental research. Okay, naturally it is a non-experimental research. We are observing the student, right? Observation research can be defined as a this I'm going to okay. Observational research is a type of a non-experimental research. Observational research can be defined as a type of research where the researcher observes the ongoing behavior of the subject being studied. Okay, so you can take another example, same example for this. You suppose there is a 30 or 40 teachers in your schools, and you want to see the behavior of a particular teachers. You have come to know that you have a complaints of the students. Okay, and you want to observe the behavior of the teacher, and the teacher doesn't know about it. Okay, you use observational method in that situation, right? Now further, observational method are of 2 types. Okay, one is naturalistic observation and second is participant observation. Okay, under a naturalistic observation, the subject who is being studied, you are going to observe, he or she doesn't know about that I'm being observed, right? This is called a natural observation. Okay, you are observing, being of a principal, you are observing with the help of a camera, you are observing by looking the teacher. Okay, this is called a naturalistic observation. Second is a participant observation, right? What is a participant observation? Here the subject will come to know beforehand that I'm being observed. For example, inspection committee or bishop, any of the person, educational counselor, inspection committee of the CBSE, ICSE is coming to check the attitude of the teacher on a particular day. Okay, and being of a teacher, being of a principal, you have come to know that this notice, and you say to all your teachers, you are being observed on a particular day and you have to prepare teaching well, right? So participant in under this observation, the participant will come to know beforehand. I'm being observed. So there are two kind of a observation. Now it depends on your research, which method you have to apply. Sometimes you don't want, the person, the teacher is going to being observed. She does not know. Sometimes you tell beforehand, right? It depends upon your topic. Third is a survey research. Yes, survey research is another types of one of the most popular and easy form of a research in order to obtain the information or to collect the data, right? A questionnaire is prepared to contain questions related to the research problems, either on paper or in a digital format. These questionnaires are distributed among random people in the hope of getting their accurate opinion. So guys, it is a very simple survey research, right? I have already told you that another name of a descriptive research is a survey research. So what happens under a survey research? You make some of the questions on the paper, 15 questions, 20 questions, 25 questions, okay, and sometimes to generate your Google form, and you send that form to a number of teachers, number of persons, in order to get a accurate opinion, accurate information. This is a survey research, that kind of a survey. We want that, we just want to do the survey. For example, that in all our schools, we want that, there should be a one extra computer class on a particular day. Okay, one company has connected with you, and you want that company, the teachers of that company, they should give at least one lecture or two lectures of computer in a particular 1 week. Okay, but before going to be finalized, you take the survey of your other sister schools. You come to know that, and you get that if everybody is giving the consent, and you give order to that company. This is a survey research, right? Next is fourth is a developmental study research. Okay, this is another kind of a research, comes under the descriptive research. Basically, developmental research or study, it was used by the psychologist, right? Because in a developmental research, what happens? Developmental research is a study of, focused on the progressive change that occurs as an organism develops. When the baby born, he or she is doing, such some kind of a actions, reactions. When he goes or she goes 2-year-old, okay, he develops, he start understanding the world by touching, by seeing, but after some time he will come to know that he grows more, and he matures, he develops the logical power, logical thinking, right? So when the psychologist wants to see that what are the phases of the organism, what are the changes that are coming in the organism, okay, when he or she comes in the teenage, 13 to 19 age, so what are the changes going on into the body, into the pattern of a thinking of the adolescents. So such kind of a study, if you want to do that, so that to do that kind of a study, you take the help of a developmental research method that comes under descriptive research, right? So 4 methods we have done under a descriptive research. One is survey method, developmental research method, observational method, and case study. Done? Okay. Third one is procedure or steps of a descriptive research, right guys? So guys, these 3 or 4 points we are doing in each and every method. Okay, in a historical research, we finished, first meaning and nature of the historical research. Then we talk about the, steps of the historical research. Then we talk about the, making report on the historical research. And last, we talk about the uses and disuses of a historical research. Similarly, in the descriptive research we are doing, and similarly, these steps we have to do in the experimental research, right? So under the procedure of, yes, steps of a descriptive research, you all aware, okay, of that, because these are the same steps we have discussed in the research also. Because every research starts with the selections of the problem, right? First of all, you have to define the problem. You have to understand the problem, what this problem says that, because guys, every statement cannot be the research. Every statement cannot be the research. Now you have to delimit the that statement. Okay, suppose you make the statement, you want to check the attitude of the convent school teacher towards the ICT, right? So it is covering whole India, whole world. In fact, you have to delimit. You want to check the attitude of the convent school teacher towards the ICT within a Punjab. Now you can say that this is your research problem. Now you have defined one problem. So selection of problem is very much important in every research, right? So you are aware that collections of a data. So now this collections of a data, we have to understand which method we use under descriptive research in order to collect the data. So under a descriptive research, we use the questionnaires. Under descriptive research, we use optionnaires, attitude scales, schedules, interviews, case study techniques, rating scales, observational technique scales, and like, right? So these are called tools, methods, questionnaires, scales. All are the same name. Tools, methods, questionnaires, scales. Okay. These tools we use under a descriptive research in order to collect the data. Okay. Like we have done in the historical method. What are the tools to collect the data? And under the historical method, we studied primary data and secondary data, right? But if the question is a descriptive research, we have to use the questionnaire, optionnaire, schedule, interviews we use as a collections of a data, right? Evaluation criteria, it is the same. After getting the data, we evaluate the statement with the help of a descriptive statistics. And what are the, when we are using a descriptive research, so always remember you have to use the descriptive statistics. You don't have to use the inferential statistics. Statistics is also at two types. One is a descriptive. Under a descriptive statistics, we talk about mean, median, mode, right? When we talk about the inferential statistics, we talk about the chi-square, we talk about the ANOVA, which is in your syllabus now in third semester syllabus, right? So evaluation criteria analysis of a data, you can say that, you can write that you use the descriptive statistics in order to analyze the data or interpret the data. Okay. So similarly, fifth point is the interpretations of the data I have discussed. And next is a reporting of the descriptive research. Okay. Now you have done the research, you have finished the descriptive research by one of the method. Now you have to make a report. Okay. So by making a report, you have to follow these steps. One is the introductions. You know that you have to write the introductions about the variables. I have given a first example in the beginning. Suppose we want to check the attitude of the convent teacher towards the computer or towards the ICT. So in the introductions, we write definitions, each and everything of the attitude about the subject also, right? For background of the problem, we define elaboration, descriptions. Okay, how we have described, how we have analyzed, review, and last we put the appendices. Appendices means which scale, which questionnaire we have used. Okay, for example, father of micro teachings are BK Pasi sir. If you want to check the micro teaching skills of the teacher, so definitely you have to use the scale, one scale which was developed by the expert, right? So in the appendices, you put the scale, you put the questionnaire. I have used this, right, guys? So this is all about descriptive research. Last, we discuss about what are the advantages and disadvantages of a descriptive research, even uses and disuses, even merits and demerits of a descriptive research. Okay, so first we talk about the advantages. Primary data. Yes, this is the important, right? Because only under a descriptive research we use the primary data. Means we come in contact with the participant face to face. Interview bhi hai na, interview is also comes under a descriptive research. So what is going on in the interview? In the interview, matlab, both persons are interacting with each other. We have a direct connections with the direct communications with the person. So in that case, we get a rich information. But it was not happening in the historical research. We had to rely on the autobiography, biography, and other things. Okay, but here the person's live, person is interacting with you, so you get the rich amount of a data. So this is the first advantages of a descriptive research. Multiple data collection. So under a descriptive research, you get a multiple data collections. Okay, even the results you can define as a quantitative as well as qualitative data you can also collect. Okay, when you are doing you are getting the informations with the help of an interview. So what happens in an interview? You write it, whatever the person is saying, that Arya, you record that. So this is called a qualitative type of a data. Okay, and when you have made a questionnaires, yes, no, yeah, sometimes you make a like you make a one is there is a one question, and there are 5 option against the question, 5 answer against the question, and the student has to click on one. Suppose first is agree, right? First. Second is strongly agree. Third is neutral. Fourth is not agree. Fifth is strongly disagree, right? So 5 type of a questions, and you ask one question. The participant has to click on one. Suppose participant click on the fourth. Fourth was, fifth was strongly disagree, and first was strongly agree. So what happens? You later on, when you go for the interpretation of the result, you give the that questions in the numerical form. For example, if strongly agree, you give the 5 number, right? And if the strongly disagree, you give the 1 number, right? So this is called a quantitative data, multiple data collections, right? Under a descriptive research, you can use the quantitative type of a data as well as you use the qualitative data. So multiple data collections you get from the participant, right? Observational behavior. Yes, this is also advantage of a descriptive research, right? Through the observational method of a descriptive research, it allows a researcher to observe the respondents' behavior in natural settings. Okay, this is important now, right? So now, matlab, you get a rich amount of a data because you are observing the person in a natural setting. Natural setting means he or she is not aware, he is being observed, right? So we can rely on that kind of a data, right? Observational behavior is another important advantage of descriptive research. Cost effective. It is also a cost effective. Descriptive research is a cost effective, right? Because you are observing, okay, you are giving your time, okay, you are not giving the money, right? If you want to check the data, collect the data from whole of the India, so what do you do that? Because to check all the convent schools across the India, you want to collect the data of a particular topic. So you make a Google form, and you know that every school comes under a one research counselor or provincial or the bishop, director. So what do? You make a Google form and you send directly to the bishop or director. In other types of schools, there is a one management committee. You send the data to a directly management committee, and you get the data, because when the management committee or bishop is saying that everybody has to fill these questionnaires, so definitely everybody will fill that questionnaire. You get the data very easily. This is called, it is a cost effect, right? Okay guys, so these are the disadvantages. These are the advantages, but along the advantages, some disadvantages of a descriptive research. You should, being of a researcher, being of a scholar, med student, you should know that what are the disadvantages of a descriptive research. So sometimes, first is a misleading information. Sometimes you get a misleading information from the participant or from the respondent. Okay, suppose you are checking the attitude of the teacher, right? So you ask any of the question which does not suit the participant, So sometimes he or she gives the misleading answer and a confusing answer, because who will say that, in this field I'm not good. And sometimes we try to always kya hota, what happens when we meet with the person, we try to show our behavior, we are very good person, है ना, बड़े अच्छे इंसान हैं हम, है ना, we have a very good attitude, right? And when we are going to observe, sometime we give the wrong information. So this is a disadvantages of a descriptive research. Okay, misleading या incorrect ही हमने दे दिया, है ना, tick mark, we are doing the tick mark on good good good. Bias in studies. Sometimes descriptive research, the researcher own opinions of a biases may affect the result of the study. This is known as a experimenter effect. So this is a, another disadvantage is biases in studies. Now, biases in study means here respondent is not misleading or giving the incorrect information. But here what is happening? The person, the researcher who is going to do the research, he makes the opinion first. It would happen. He makes the opinion first. So this biasness even affect the outcome of the study. Okay, that's why it is said by by the experimenter effect. Okay, representative issues, some problem of a representative, like case study or data of a small sample does not adequately represent the whole population. Okay, representative issue means, for example, we want to do the research. So under a research, what we do, we take the sample. Okay, and what is the definition of the sample? The definition of the sample is that sample represents the whole population, right? Suppose if the population is 100 crore, right, 100 CR, and sometimes we take the sample of only 500 student, 500 persons, but the population is 100 crore. So how the 500 people can represent the whole population, right? So sometime with the shortage of the data, because 500 is a very less number, okay, and lack of the data, there is a representative issues comes. This is also come at disadvantages of a descriptive research, right? Limited score. Described research has a limited scope. It was wrongly written score. It is a scope, right? Descriptive research has a limited scope where it only analyzes the what of research. It does not evaluate the why and how questions of research. Yes, first I discussed about that. I explained all the definitions of the descriptive research, and I said that it talks about what, it does not talk about why and how. Okay, when you are research, you want to go to research in why and how, you take the help of a experimental research. Okay, in our next lecture we will do that, right? So guys, thank you so much. This is all about your descriptive research. Okay, we finished your first of all introductions, meaning, nature. Okay, then 4 characteristics of the descriptive research, right? Then what are the research methods, 4 methods under the descriptive research. Then we discuss about the what are the steps of the descriptive research, right? And later on we talked about the advantages and disadvantages of descriptive research. Thank you so much.